All right, so Black Rifle Coffee. I'm super excited because, and this is why, there's a new one opening up right on the corner. Yeah, their own location here in the DFW area, which is outstanding because I don't know if you know this or not, but every time I buy a pound of coffee, I got to pay shipping because it comes from Salt Lake City.
Yep.
So we're adding like $5 every single time.
So you got to buy in bulk to make it kind of
exactly. And if you know anything about coffee, not to insult your intelligence, but if you know anything about coffee, the
heavy.
fresher the better.
The fresher.
Yeah,
the better,
the quicker you can consume from the time it was roasted, the better off you are.
Yeah,
that's true. So I'm buying 2 pounds because I'm cheap, and
then by the time you get to
it's like, But I mean, this is 3-week-old coffee.
Okay.
So it's still pretty okay, but I'm not excited about that, man. I thought to myself, sweet, I can go be a barista. Wait, I don't want to be a barista. But I don't got to pay charges either. And it's exciting. Although, I don't know if you've noticed this or not. You've been watching Steven Crowder?
Yeah.
He doesn't have his his Black Rifle coffee anymore on his desk. So I'm wondering if they dropped him as a sponsor. He hasn't mentioned him either.
He hasn't. No.
Yeah, right? So I'm hoping they didn't have a falling out. I'm hoping everything is cool because I kind of like Steven Crowder more than I like coffee because I can always go Folgers.
Sure. Yeah. So
maybe.
Yeah. So Folgers in our house lasts about a week, and we make it super strong. Like this is good. It's got a good taste, but when I make our coffee in the morning, like the grinds are just about flowing over.
Oh, no kidding.
It's like
wow.
Yeah, it's like super strong.
Now, are you going for the strong taste, or a strong feel?
I've got both. Strong feel, but I've gotten used to the strong taste. So now, like when I have, if I go to IHOP or Denny's and have coffee, I'm like, oh god, this is awful. It's because it's so weak. It's not weak, and it doesn't have that bold taste. So right now we're drinking the Columbia Black, the Black Silk. And it's super. It's it's a 5-to-1 ratio. So if it calls for 1 scoop, we usually put 5 scoops. It calls for 5 scoops. I'm putting about 25. Not
right.
25, but it's strong. It's 1 cup will give the average man the shakes. So
it gives me the shakes thinking about it. But that's the reason I ask is I think Folgers probably over roast their coffee.
They may.
Are you familiar with I just learned this.
It's mass produced, so I can't imagine it's.
Yeah, right. It's not. They're not taking that extra time and effort to really culture and coddle the flavor. But the lighter the roast, the stronger the brew. Not taste, but caffeine wise.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
But I've also heard the opposite of that too.
Who told you that?
Google. But
Google lies.
Yeah.
That's if you take a look at the blondes. And the light roasts, much more powerful. They don't have as much the taste profile.
Yeah.
And this one,
the longer you brew it, the more you cook it.
Roast it.
Roast it. Well, let's to cook, right? Let's just the verb to process whatever it is that you do. That process, the longer there's heat to it, the more of the caffeine, I guess, from what I understand, is burnt out of it or cooked out of it.
Well, it depends. Like when you brew it, you're only going to 212 at the tops. You really shouldn't brew at 212. Alton Brown likes 208.
What is that type of coffee? And I seen it. There's a shop out by Hertz Donuts in Fort Worth, and it's this contraption that they have, and it's like it moves like the coffee in this.
I haven't seen.
I don't know what it's called. Like it's super strong, super bold, super like oh god.
Muy robusto, huh?
Yeah, I have no idea. I will say I was a bit of a fiend sucker for the Starbucks Nitro Brew. Have you ever had it?
I haven't.
Oh my god. Yeah.
One of it's Arabica beans. I just learned this. Yes, I was rewatching Good Eats, and it was about coffee. And there's 2 types of beans. All the beans in the world, 2 types: Arabica and like some type of Robusto, I think. And all the flavor variants just depend on where it's grown. And so, but not a lot of people like the Robusto, but it's super strong.
That's
really caffeinated.
Yeah, I don't know anything about coffee. I'm not a coffee connoisseur. Like some people are like wine and beer connoisseurs and whiskey connoisseurs or whatever. Like my first experience with coffee, like I didn't drink coffee in the military. Like We didn't have energy drinks back then, right? This is like circa 1998. So it was no dose, right? You worked late night shift, pop some no dose. But and then the coffee that I had exposure to is like was at building, like it was awful, right? But when I met Tamar, my wife, I was in school, college, and I was staying up late studying for whatever, getting up early studying for midterms. And she's like, "You want me to make you some coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll make you some coffee."
In fact, I do.
Yeah, sure, I'll take your coffee. So she made me coffee the way we make it now, but I was like I did not have caffeine in my blood. Like I had no caffeine tolerance.
This is best cup ever.
Oh my god! So I finished one. I was like, "Man, that's tasty." Right? He's like, "You want another?" Like, yeah.
Like it tasted good or it just felt good?
It tasted good.
Oh.
The kick hadn't kicked in quite
wow.
yet. I was like, "Yeah, let me get another one." Halfway through the second cup, like I'm literally like.
Really good coffee, man. Really good coffee.
I'm jacked,
really good.
I'm jacked. And I was like, "So this is what it's like." She's like, "Oh yeah."
I now understand.
But she made it 5x strong. Like, if it was a 1 to 5, I'm like, "This is what you." Good Lord. Then it got to the point where I was drinking that style of coffee a pot a day. Like before 10 o'clock, I was.
So it escalated quickly, huh?
Oh, good Lord!
Wow.
I was a caffeine fiend. So I've cut it back to, and this is technically my second cup for the day, but special occasion.
Well, just so you guys know, Scott is like a giant, so these proportions, keep that in mind. A regular man of average stature would be off. He'd go to the moon probably.
See, that's funny you say that, because tomorrow when she would cook dinner, she would give me the same portion size she give the kids.
That's bull.
This is like, I'm like, what is what is this?
All right.
Right. I'm currently in my current state 6'6", 280. I'm like, what is this? This is not a meal. This is a snack. Feed me, woman.
These are hors d'oeuvres.
So,
yeah, that's
true
weak.
story.
So I'm not proud of myself. I'm really not.
I'm proud of you.
Well, thanks, buddy. I'm not proud of myself. I bowed down to big tech and
So,
Tim Cook.
I was going to ask you, did you go back to the...
Here we are.
Because I'm seeing, when I message you, I'm seeing blue. I'm like, what's going on? Green.
Is that what it is? Is that what?
Yeah, so check it out. So green tells me, all right, let's go back. Green, 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 green.
Green.
Okay. No, at some point it goes blue. Dude, we had a lot of conversations with the green.
Is that?
There it is. This is where you made your switch. Sometime between Sunday of last week and Saturday.
No kidding.
Saturday and Sunday. So whenever it went green, that tells me you are now off net, right?
No longer an iMessage.
That's right.
Raj.
That's right. And I can't see if it's read, delivered, and all
Ain't that some stuff?
Yeah, so now it's green. So on the way over here, or before I left, I was like, wait a minute, I'm getting blue. So
Blue alert.
Sometime between today and today.
It was just today. I snapped. You know what? Here's the deal, man. Honestly, I think that if you hadn't learned a phone already and you weren't used to a phone already, then it wouldn't matter. Because
sure, wouldn't matter at all.
Substantively, there wasn't that much difference.
It's like,
it was the small things.
It's sort of like, okay, maybe changing operating systems. Definitely not browsers. I don't think browser changing like Edge to Chrome would be that big of a deal.
Go to DuckDuckGo. There is a big deal. There's a huge.
Well, yeah, compared to Google.
Yeah, you get real search results.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by DuckDuckGo, although if you want to. Anyway, yeah.
But if you went from Mac to like a PC, a Microsoft PC.
Oh yeah, dude.
Big difference.
Well, there's a S ton of little things that add up to what's between Mac, but between iPhone and Android, it does all the same things, just differently. Just like how you do a screenshot and how it. But dude, I tell you, I tried to get out of the ecosystem and they kept pulling me back.
What movie is that from?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Godfather.
Godfather, yeah.
GF1. Nope, GF2. Sorry.
They just pulled me back in.
Yep.
I don't know. I can't quote it. So, but
was it? No, that was GF3. It was from The Godfather.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Somebody will know exactly, and they'll know the scene. They'll post the scene. I just saw it the other day. I think you posted it on something.
Yeah, like
no,
that.
you actually sent me the meme.
Yeah.
Just bring me back in.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Well, see, my workflow was so jacked up, man.
Yeah.
Like, what I like to do is read news stories, and then get them to my computer so I can do a video about them. But in the ecosystem, it was too easy. You just send it to like an iMessage, and it picks it up on the computer, and you're good to go. Not so with Android. It took 2 or 3 extra steps, and that was a pain. Plus, all the functionality.
You could have, I think, in all honesty, I think if you had, spent the time, giving yourself a good 30-day window, maybe, I think you would have been all right.
Yeah, no, I would have gotten used to it. I would have gotten my whole.
I think that's just
my
human
perspective
nature,
was
right? You adapt.
But I wouldn't have been able to do my same workflow.
Yeah.
And I got news, man. It's nice having, whether I'm on my iPad or I'm on my computer.
Sometimes efficiency is where it's.
No, that they do it on purpose. I mean,
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why they're one of the most successful
Yeah.
manufacturers of.
Although I did one of the biggest things I went to Samsung for, not made in China.
Yeah.
Not made in China. So I did some research, and apparently iPhones really aren't either. For some crazy reason, like a lot of the boards and circuits are made in Canada. They send it to China where it's assembled. It's like they have a global supply chain.
It's almost, well, I mean, any count, that sounds pretty anti-American to me.
Well, it costs too much, right? But it was designed in the United States.
Well,
the profits stay here.
That's exactly right. That's the nature of free enterprise. And notice I didn't say compassionate capitalism. I said free enterprise. Now, I'm not opposed to, if I start a business here in America and I know that I can outsource everything that I need to be productive here, why then must I use American labor if I am the business owner and I took all the risk and it's my money that was on the line? Why am I required to employ U.S. labor in order to produce my thinking, my creativity, my ingenuity, my work? So I mean, I get it. I get both sides of the picture there. But
not me, man. Screw them
to a certain extent.
No, I hear you.
But I wouldn't employ Chinese children in labor camps. And I'm not assuming that they do that. Like, I don't actually have any evidence that I've researched or found.
Oh, they do.
I've heard of that.
The screens on the 12 Max, I think. I hope I got the 11. I couldn't justify $1,000. So I got the 11, which is a huge upgrade from my 7 Plus.
Sure.
Which I love.
I think that's what I have 11. Is I have the 3 little. I know mine's a little cracked up. But okay, you got the 2. Oh, I got 3.
You might have the Pro or the Max. I didn't need it.
I don't know. I think it's 11, but whatever.
And it's a good camera as is. Right?
But I have no complaints. Like I literally. Launched my phone like a frisbee, like a boomerang thing was going to come back to me, and it still works. It's a little cracked up, but
that's not funny.
No pun intended.
Well, the thing is that I absolutely hear what you're saying. Like when free trade means equal, things have to be equal on both sides. I've got no problem whatsoever if America can't supply the labor that I need to make an effective product so I can compete on the market with others, and I've got to go to, I don't know, England, hopefully, or France or Germany. But China, they're using slave labor, man. They're using slave labor.
I get that. That's, well, I mean, there's
I
so
went to
much
Vietnam.
to say about China.
Yeah. My Samsung was made in Vietnam.
They are not pro-American.
No.
They are pro-Chinese.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that.
Well, if I'm being honest, though, the Samsung had circuits and boards, and where do you think those are made from? I mean,
yeah. So here's the thing: like, if you were to go 100% American, it's almost like
you can't.
And it's not the same comparison, but I would same in terms of the amount of mental energy it takes to navigate the stuff. Like if you go 100% vegan, like you have to have that in your mind, in your head.
What do you consider that though? Consider that though. What is it? All the parts are also made in America? Is it assembled in America?
If you're going to go 100% American. And if you were to say China's the enemy, I'm not supporting China at all. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question because, do the profits do the profits benefit American, even if maybe the labor isn't directly produced? Like, where do you draw the line? Like, what's like your hard no?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Well, I did. I boycotted China, and I made a rule that I had to go to at least 2 or 3 stores.
Do you eat Chinese food?
Just from Panda Express. I had to go to 2 or 3 stores and I couldn't find the product that wasn't made in China. For instance, a waffle iron. I went during Christmas all over to find a dang waffle iron that wasn't made in China. Couldn't find one, so I went to the whole mall.
God, it's exhausting.
Yeah, and I ended up going and buying one that was made in China from Cuisinart. Cuisinart, what are you doing? Made in China, and I totally would have bought a waffle iron made in America or anywhere else.
And here's the other side of the token. If the product that you're buying, here's the other thing, and you have to weigh this out. If I'm going to buy American, am I going to get the best product for my buck? Am I going to buy a piece of crap? Now, a lot of the Chinese products out there end up in garage sales, right?
Yeah.
They're not good quality stuff. But I also know that there's some really good products that are not made in America.
Yeah, totally.
It's my money
Absolutely.
that I'm spending. So it is.
But I think with the Made in America thing, it goes both ways. You're not going to find any mid-range stuff. You're going to find either so cheap and crap because they can't make any money off it, so they sell in bulk, or super high expensive, like grills, for goodness sakes. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and try to find a grill under $1,000 made not in China.
Not in China.
Yeah, and you can't.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So
so as it comes to the phone, that's why I really had to think about it. What do I mean by what do I want it to be not made? Every phone is going to have a component or two that's made in China. Damn it.
Well, here's the other thing too: is that Chinese-made product going to make you more productive here in America, where you're actually producing more? So then there's just too many factors to consider. I think to live to live a life of absolutism, that I'm not going to buy anything but American.
Only Sith deal in absolutes, and I'm no Sith.
I'm not either. I'm an American.
Yeah, so they pulled me back in the ecosystem.
They pulled you back in.
Yep, they pulled me back in. So, have you heard this one? Apparently, they're having not a safety stand down, but a extremism stand down in the military. Now, I've seen division-wide safety stand downs, and the whole division stopped action and went and did safety training because someone got killed. We were going to NTC and they got smashed by a tank, and for the whole division to stop to do this was huge, and the amount of people that had to stop mission and come in, it was insane. For the whole army to be doing it, the whole military, it's huge. Now they have 60 days to do it though, so within the 60 days they have to. But it's concerning, man. Like, I don't want a bunch of soldiers being vetted for their political views. That's how brown shirts get formed. Like, okay, we're gonna have our elite fighting troops only be Democrats or whatever, and so now you've got the Democrats have an army. That's ridiculous. The idea of vetting people for their political views, especially when they're mainstream views.
Yeah, my brain's going 100 miles.
No, I imagine, man.
Oh my God.
The danger and slippery slope of this is intense. Where it could lead, and what McCarthyism in the ranks. It's insane.
So my question is, and I've not heard this defined, and I want it defined. What exactly is extremism?
Yeah.
What
are these extremist views?
Is it? Like, what does that mean?
Well, they talk about that in the damn thing, and they said at the very bottom that they're going to define that later.
You can't. How do you
I know,
define
right?
that later? If you don't know what you're looking for, how can you figure out what you're looking for later? You haven't even addressed a problem. What's the problem?
Well, they said that the problem was that there was too many active duty service members and veterans that participated in the January 6th. See, they're taking what happened at the Capitol and making that an excuse to do things that they normally wouldn't have any kind of political pull or power to do, you know? So they're using it as pretext to, I mean, because they seriously think that they call it insurrection in the memo, and they say that the people who participated in it they're the ones they're being concerned about. So if you went to one of those protests at the Capitol, in their mind they're consider that an extremism, or that's what they seem to say.
But weren't people gathered at the White House to
Capitol, yeah.
to
peacefully
as a peaceful assembly?
Well, as Trump said in minute 18, like 26 seconds in, peacefully and patriotically march and have your voices heard.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there was an ton of people there. There was very nice people on both sides. All right.
Sure. And there were things that happened and I don't condone the violence, and I'm not saying that, but those people did not represent me. I made my voice heard by voting.
Well, where were you on January 6th?
I was at the state capitol in Texas
to
make sure.
Brother, I saw you.
I think you were there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and why were we there?
We rode together, bro.
That's how we got there.
We came to peacefully assemble to redress our grievances to our government.
But not only that, what else were we there to do to prevent?
I don't know. What would you
well, I certainly didn't.
I was armed as shit.
Yeah. In fact, I had to leave some of my armament behind.
Yeah, I remember.
But what I didn't want to see is my state capitol be vandalized, and I was looking for other groups like Antifa, who absolutely hate freedom, and they use fascist methods of getting their point across. But so we were there to peacefully assemble and to protect those who wouldn't or couldn't protect themselves. So those people that
that's kind of like that's always on the menu.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like everywhere I go. So in addition to that.
In addition,
yeah,
right.
Like what I said.
Yeah. And so these people that stormed the Capitol in Washington, they don't represent me.
Yeah.
And my views are not extreme. And even still, that was a small fraction of the people that were there that actually did that.
The amount of people that were in the Capitol dome, the amount of people that are doing bad things was a small fraction of them. The other people came in because they're stupid and the doors were open and the cops were letting them in. They figured, okay, I guess we're going this way.
Well, that was the other thing. Like,
there's a lot of people like that.
We both did security and force protection in the military. I don't know of ever a scenario that we would ever allow just anybody just come on base.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
and that's supposed to be the most fortified, secure location in the history of ever anywhere.
Well, it sure as hell is now. Have you seen it?
Well, yeah. I brought in 20,000 guardsmen.
Well, there's still a lot deployed there, and the fences are those gates. They're there. They're not leaving. Yeah. Man, insane.
I got a lot of opinions on that, but so my question is on this is what exactly is extremism? Is it because I am a conservative and I support the Constitution and I love nationalism. I love being American. I love America, and
so does everyone you're talking to.
When I served the country, I took an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Like, I didn't take an oath to fight for the Chinese Constitution or any other constitution of our enemies.
Yeah, I'm all for it. What if they found someone like Nadal?
Who?
Hassan Nadal, that Major Hassan,
sure,
good shooter.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but they're not looking for him.
No, they're not.
They're looking for people they don't like.
They're looking for me.
For viewpoints they don't like.
Yeah, which don't fit their agenda.
Like you said, you're absolutely right. The thing that's most important that they should be looking at, if they judged this, what extremism is, for things that deviate from the Constitution, I'd be like, well, get in there. All right, yeah, go find out which service members lied on their oath and don't want to defend and protect the Constitution. Get them the hell out of here.
Can I just go on the record as saying Trump supporters in whole, not in entirety, but in whole, are not extremist. They are not storming Capitol buildings and trying to kill people and do horrible things.
When the Overton window's so far shifted left.
But I want to know why so much attention. I mean, one, it's the Capitol building, but why are we not talking about the Antifa riots and the Black Lives Matter riots? We don't talk about that. And governors in those states who just stand down, law enforcement, stand down, let them get it out their system. Even if those people did do that, they felt that they had been completely disenfranchised, that their vote was stolen from them, that they felt that that's what they were going to do as a result. It's really no different than Black Lives Matter feeling disenfranchised by the system they say as a whole.
I'm about to do my Newsmax impression again. All right, I'm going to do a Newsmax impression if you mentioned that Victor Foxtrot again.
You're going to walk off?
And everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little.
Yeah.
You're going to walk away from the meeting? Yeah. No, I don't condone it, but I don't think, I still feel robbed. I feel absolutely disenfranchised.
All of them
robbed.
Had a reason.
They had a reason. Doesn't justify it, and I don't support it.
They took actions beyond what was reasonable.
Because you, one, are a Trump supporter and or you believe that your vote was disenfranchised does not make you an enemy of the Constitution, enemy of America, enemy of the government, enemy of the state. And the Democrats will never get unity. They talk about, well, now it's time to be unified. that does not unify anybody.
No, totally not. Well, but as long as it's that extremism is narrowly tailored, as all things that infringe on the First Amendment are supposed to be, political thought being one of them.
Right, and you're still going to have a small fraction of society that hate you because of the color of your skin, and that hate isn't white on black only. It's white on black, black on white. It goes across all colors. Everyone, everywhere. It's not just a white problem. Like, racism is not a white issue. It affects everyone of all colors. Does that make sense? So you can't just say, well, we need to root out the white hate in our military. I don't know, man.
That's why this haziness about defining what is extremism for yourselves,
sure,
instead of having a unified standard across the service, is very dangerous.
So we're going to stand down and find something we haven't yet defined.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, and you and I both know, guys are like, what in the hell?
I got news, man. Most military members are Trump supporters.
Well,
like vast majority of veterans and military members are Republicans and conservatives.
I don't disagree with. I mean, see, that's the thing. Right? When you talk about being a conservative, like, that's opposite of progressive. And there's one party that's progressive, and there's one party that's conservative. I mean, that's traditionally how it is.
Usually, yeah.
So there you go.
What else needs to be said?
Yeah, if I was a bad guy, I've got a 60-day window to go.
Why, if our greatest enemies don't need to do anything except sit back and watch us destroy ourselves? I mean, that's the biggest thing that Russia and China and Iran could ever do right now is just be like, have fun. Go get them. You know, sow seeds of dissent that have already been reaped.
Yeah.
To the other side. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I really
also,
don't like this.
Like, that's not the focus of the military. Like, how can you stand in defense of your nation when your eyes are off the world? You're no longer standing guard. You have 60 days that you're sitting on your hands, wondering what in the hell.
A big thing that I'm concerned about this is they do take, Austin does take some language, and it was important. I saw this language where he says that they're going to look at actions that cause military members, actions derived from these extremist ideologies. So it's important that he said actions, because I don't care what kind of ideology you have, as long as you keep it to your damn self. I mean, people think people are crazy, man. They got all sorts of different ideas about how the world works and the universe and all that nonsense. As long as they do their job and don't let it spill out, man, go ahead and think the moon Earth is flat, or whatever the hell it is you think it is. You know, you get a lot of different divergent opinions.
I've never heard the moon being flat.
Well, I'm just making the most outlandish thing I could think of, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. They have some stupid ideas about stuff, and God bless them. It's their right to, as long as those stupid ideas don't infringe upon their job. You know? Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, of course. Yeah. You don't want people actively working and having ideology that is, you wouldn't want, someone like Major Hassan. You wouldn't want someone like him in the ranks at all.
No, that's a different.
I don't want the KKK in there either, but I don't want street gangs, which both happen.
Yeah.
In fact, Fort Hood had a street gang problem where people were joining the military, so they'd get out and they'd go educate their gang members back home, and suddenly got a paramilitary force.
Yeah,
it happened. Fort Hood was a prime example of it.
Yeah.
Military police, baby.
A bit of a stretch, and it may be an unpopular view, but I know jihadist and radical Islam that's a real threat. That's a bigger threat than the Crips and Bloods. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends on where you're at. If you're in downtown Chicago, I don't know. Yeah, south side.
Your battleground is your front yard.
No kidding. True. Every weekend.
Every night.
Yeah. So it's gnarly, but so I am. Of course, we want everyone to be happy, but I think you're right. The Overton window has shifted so far that I don't know if this administration, whose allies think that just being a Trump supporter makes you a terrorist.
That's awful, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's a horrible way. And this is where the star of Mandalorian, Gina, I can't remember catch her last name, but Carano. But the thought of when your neighbor hates you because of the way that you think, then it primes you up for the government to come in and say, we don't want that type of thought process or that type of person or that ideology to infest,
tough, man. As long as
their agenda.
As long as that kid stays in his house, think whatever the hell you want. Well, remember we went down to and joined the Cajun Navy when was it Harvey came through?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met some great guys who were pathfinding, facing the storm, trying to find people and communicate, open lines of communication. Met some really great guys that saved our butt from getting drowned, and the water was up to the car window, the truck, the van window. It was crazy.
Man.
And we met him the next day, and he had a Confederate flag in his.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means to him in his heart. Well, he had the Confederate battle flag. He didn't have the Confederate flag per se, but whatever. That's pedantic.
Yeah.
So was he a terrible Confederate-loving racist, or was he just a dude who loves Southern pride? I choose to believe it's the second one because he was such a great guy. He was a great guy. I knew nothing about him. Then I saw the flag hanging in his garage. I'm like, oh.
And I don't recall on those rescue missions turning people away because of the color of their skin.
Yeah, I could care less.
This was Houston. Hello.
Yeah, right.
This wasn't like white North Dallas.
And that
I'm
was
assuming
the thing
that
about
North
it.
Dallas is all white, but Highland Park it's somewhere in the 90%.
right.
I'm just saying.
I mean, that would never even occurred to anyone that we were with.
No, and I don't really know of anybody
crazy would that be?
in the military that's ever served in combat or been combat trainer in a combat unit who was like, screw them. I don't like them. They're brown.
In fact, I knew a guy he was racist as hell. He was brown. He was American Mexican, but he was brown as hell, and he dropped the N-word and meant it. He called people that, and man, I loved him. He was a great guy, and he went to combat, and guess what? He had black dudes in our unit, and they were best of friends because he never let that interfere with his work. And then he saw light later. I don't think he's racist anymore. But
yeah, I mean, there's a brotherhood.
He made it hard to hear.
And then when I started, we all wore green, right? I mean, we had the BDU, battle dress. They changed it a
The
little
camo?
later. Yeah. It's like you're old when you wore camis.
No shit, man.
But
No
no,
kidding.
you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So I'm against it. You?
Against what?
This.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say, wow.
No, it's just a huge waste of time. Absolute huge waste of time. It's horrible use of resources. I think it leaves our country vulnerable.
And a terrible slippery slope.
It is a terrible slippery slope because you haven't defined what extremism is. It's.
Are you really going to be satisfied with the Biden administration's definition of extremism? Because you and I are going to be on the chopping block probably. I'm not an extremist.
No, I don't. I honestly,
I'm a classical liberal, for God's sakes.
Same here. I don't even acknowledge that. And I'm going to have to be careful with what I say, but there are certain things in life that are legitimate, and there are certain things that are illegitimate, even when people want you to believe that they're legitimate. So I'll just leave that.
Okay. Well, we're against this.
I'm against that.
Yep.
For sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. So if you didn't catch my video, I did one video on this just this last week about the whole Gina Carano nonsense. And you heard about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty intense. Have you seen their tweets?
I saw one, and I heard about a couple others. Yeah.
I went when the left starts talking about the Holocaust and about how dare you, and I saw one person say she literally put Nazis on there. It's like, well, she was talking about Nazis.
She was,
but not in a good way. She was being demeaning towards them.
Yeah. No, but I mean, she was actually being factual.
Yeah. So I went to Ben Shapiro because he's my resident Jew friend.
Sure.
I'd say the whole word next time.
And I was like, what is a Jew like? He's not just Jewish. He's Jewish. Woo!
Very
And
much
that's
so,
he's got his own thing going. That's cool, brother. But I wanted to know what his thoughts were because I think he would be representative of at least the Orthodox Jewish community.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's some credibility there.
And well, that's the thing, though. He was what she said was so unoffensive to someone whose family, and he's Ashkenazi Jewish, so his family probably suffered from the Holocaust, right?
It's a miracle that he's even alive.
Yeah, right.
That he's even here.
And so he was so unoffended by it that he hired Gina Carano, and now they're gonna make a movie together.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, right.
No, I didn't hear about that.
And
That's
speaking
awesome.
of movies, have you seen Run, Hide, Fight?
I hang my head low.
Dude, you got it. It's not a great movie, but it's dang good, right? It's just a good shoot 'em up, bang bang, good time. It was intense though, super intense. I let Michael watch it.
I like intense. Was it worth it? Like, what about my kids? Michael's a bit older.
Let me say, he's 10. I don't have a problem as much with violence as much as I do with sexuality.
Exactly.
There it is.
Kind of the same. So
I'm an American.
No, I'm the same boat. Like we watch war movies. I want the boys to be exposed to military combat. I want them to know when they say I want to go in the military. I want them to know what that means.
The reality of
it's
it.
Not a job. Like it's a calling, right? But yeah, the realities of war. So yeah, they drop F-bombs on the combat field. I'm okay with that, right? There are things that happen. So
the language isn't too bad.
Yeah, so I don't mind the violence as much as I do, like the sexual stuff. Definitely bothers me. So there's not that's not the case with that.
No, there's no sexuality. There is scenes that there's no nudity, also, but I don't think there's any cursing either. Man, we were speaking of that. We thought maybe it'd be a good idea for Michael to watch Major League because there's no violence, there's not really much sexuality, and we can just fast forward. Wrong! Holy crap! Turns out when they drop the F-bomb too much.
Is that the Charlie Sheen Major League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great adult movie. Not for kids.
Dude,
not for kids.
I watched all those when I was a kid. The Naked Gun.
I did too.
Naked Gun 1.5, Airplane.
How about
Porky's Revenge.
Revenge of the Nerds?
Revenge of the Nerds.
With the shower scene?
Police Academy.
Right.
I saw it all, man. I probably should. That's part of why I was so messed up in life, I think.
Yeah. We shouldn't have been. I didn't watch Revenge of the Nerds unedited with my parents' permission.
Oh man.
They didn't know I was watching that, but I watched it and didn't know what I was watching until that scene came up. And then I love this movie.
That's my pie.
Used to anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And they use the F word and they drop it, and they're mean with it. They're really angry, and the combination of dropping the F-bomb plus being really angry, and it was too much. We had to turn it off.
Which one are you talking about?
Major League.
Oh yeah.
So, but there isn't that in the run hide fight, and which was good. So we did watch it. Little violent, very violent, but intense. But he was able to be cool with it. And so I don't know what they got planned for her and what the movie's going to be, but I can only imagine it's going to be something awesome.
So she was fired by Disney for using.
To be fair, Lucasfilm. They've been trying to fire her since November. They've been looking for cause, but
why? Because
the tweets, the silence,
the conservative tweets, silence culture.
They must hate how popular she is with people like us.
Yeah,
us troglodytes.
Yeah, for sure.
Which makes me love her all the more.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that she had. I don't know if she's still fighting in the UFC, but she was kicking butt, taking names.
And in her fight scenes on The Mandalorian, they were real. They were believable.
I was like, who is this dude? Like, she's whoa.
Italian. Steven Crowder said, this is a plus-size model. This is someone, not the test.
This is a healthy plus-size model. Like, this isn't the McDonald's cheeseburger. Yeah. Not to say people that are plus-size eat cheeseburgers all the time. I mean, there are other reasons why you can be plus-size. Is it okay to say fat? Like, I consider myself a little fat. It's because of the way I eat.
I'm a disabled combat vet, so I'm not sweating it either.
Well,
so you're a disabled vet as well. Your service messed you up. My service messed me up. So yeah, I'm fat. Leave me alone.
And I do love cheeseburgers. Put it on record.
Cheeseburgers are delicious.
And that's why I'm fat.
This was actually a test. If you had said you don't like cheeseburgers,
and I like beer. Beer makes me fat too. So, I'm just saying. But no, she's plus size because she's. Well, I think there's some Italian. I think there's some genetics there, and she works out, and she's strong, and she fights, and she kicks butt. Like she's a bad dude. Like I would take her into a into a fox. So
yeah, but I get what you mean.
I would go to battle with her any day of the week. She's a bad dude.
Yeah, she's bad. Yeah, she is, and she's all female, all woman.
You know what? I wouldn't care what her political views were, and honestly, I don't care what anybody's political views are. Shut up, though.
Yeah,
like I don't want to hear it. Like if I want to watch
Pedro Pascal,
so many people, and I want to even laundry list them. We already know who they are, but there's so many movies now and actors who have wished death on people that I actually looked up to.
Yeah, I will never watch another Seth Rogen movie again.
Johnny Depp. Robert De Niro. Dude, I love watching Robert De Niro.
Oh,
if he'd just kept his mouth shut. Jim Carrey, shut up,
Robert
man.
De Niro's bad, dude.
I know.
He's got some...
I know.
I love The Irish. I didn't love it. I was entertained by The Irishman.
Casino, Goodfellas are still my top movies.
Forget about it.
Still my top movies.
All right.
And I'll never look at them the same.
That's
shut up. I don't watch you for your political views. I don't want to know what your political activism is. Like, entertain me.
Yeah, right. Kurt Russell. You hear what Kurt Russell had to say about this kind of thing?
I try not to. Do I want to hear?
No, you absolutely do. He says, you know what? We're like, he didn't mean it bad. He said, we're like jesters. All right? We go up there, we act, we put on a show. We need people to, I'm not quoting him, but the general spirit of it, what he said is, people there, they pay us to go up there and to make them feel good and to get away from reality for a little bit. We need to keep quiet so that doesn't interfere with what our job is.
That's it.
That's exactly it.
That's your job.
And Kurt Russell, you're not a jester. I love you. Santa Chronicles are awesome.
Right. But that goes back to my original point. Even if she wasn't a conservative, I wouldn't know if she didn't open her mouth.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's conservative because I'm a conservative and I think, well, hey, she's on the home team.
But that's the thing, man. Her tweets weren't offensive.
They were
like
factual.
The things she said weren't.
She was bringing. Okay, it may have been opinionated as far as referencing it to the likeness of being a conservative in Hollywood. It may or not be Hollywood. It doesn't really matter. But she's dead on. Like, there is an attack against conservatives in this country.
No, it does not prove it. Oh, right. Sorry.
Well,
give me one example.
I don't know.
Oh. Right. This example. Sorry, my bad.
And so, but the idea is the censorship. Like, there's an obvious censorship going on between big tech, social media. That's censoring conservative views of thought. That's the problem. Is
that what she said was considered extremism, which goes back to our earlier story about the military. Is that what they're going to define extremism as? Because then we're in a lot of trouble. I'm in a lot of trouble if she's an extremist.
Right. And here's the caveat to that.
And I'm not an extremist.
When the left says, "Well, it's okay," it's not. Here's the problem with that. Is where does it stop? Because at some point that censorship will eventually come for you.
Dude, I think it's already gone too far. It should have stopped after Alex Jones. I know. I'm not a big fan of InfoWars, but even he shouldn't have been silenced. I feel bad that I wasn't more on the ball about it back then. I thought Alex Jones did things that deserved for him to get canceled or to get banned. I thought that I didn't study it, so I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
I don't have any reference for it.
I never liked him anyway, so it's like when he got canceled and banned, it's like, well, don't be a jerk and you won't get banned. But that's not what's happening.
Well,
anymore.
I'll go a step further. Like, I followed Trump on Twitter, whatever. See, I'm not.
You have a Twitter account?
Technically, I do.
Oh.
I created it like a decade ago. I have actually right now, in 10 years, I've made 3 posts. 3.
When was the last one?
I don't know. Oh, I remember. It was the Star of David, because the Star of David would apparently get you banned off of Twitter.
I would have posted it right.
That's
why. That's what I did. I was like, here's post number 3.
Turns out my boss is a Jewish carpenter.
That's exactly right.
All right.
Yeah, I look up to him a lot. But I had a number of people that I had on my dashboard that I followed, and Trump was one of them. Why? Well, he's my president.
He had like 60 other million Twitter followers.
Plus 80. Like, he had 80? Something like 80 million. Maybe that, I don't know, whatever. But they banned the president from Twitter. Like, when big tech has that much power that they actually censor the president of the United States.
For what he said, yeah.
And before they banned him, they were removing his post.
Yeah, like innocuous posts. I saw the ones that were deleted. It was ridiculous. Had nothing to do with anything.
And I don't follow a lot of progressive left-leaning podcast. I don't know, posters. I don't know. I'm not on social media that much. But of the 6 that I followed, 4 of them were completely removed from Twitter permanently.
Just dropped, huh?
And they were all conservatives. So the point is, you would be an idiot, and I am calling you an idiot if you don't believe that there's a censorship going on of conservative voices on mainstream media and big tech platforms. Yeah. Your head is in the sand.
Or you're a liar.
Or you're a straight up liar.
Yeah, there's not much. I don't like being...
You cannot claim ignorance anymore.
Are we dealing in absolutes? Have we become the Sith?
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's accurate.
So, that being said, at some point, and it's not that my what I consider my home team being censored, The problem is greater. It's bigger than that. So the problem becomes that censorship eventually moves into total censorship.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. And and when you have that much power, then you're not getting the true value of the First Amendment, in my opinion. But take that for what it's worth. It's just an opinion.
In any regard, she's back on top, baby.
So she's with the Daily Wire.
Yeah, Daily Wire is going to make a movie. No, obviously they haven't started it yet, but it's been planned. Steven Crowder offered her a job.
Chris Pratt keeps coming to my mind.
That's because they keep on trying to cancel him. Yeah. In fact, Marvel made Star-Lord gay. Like they retroactively made him gay because they knew that it would be rough for Chris Pine to continue playing him. Not Pine.
Pratt?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Andy Dwyer. I love Andy Dwyer. Yeah, so don't know if Marvel Comics and the MCU are separate, but that was the speculation. That's why they did it. I love the guy, man. Star-Lord's awesome. Star-Lord's the man, right?
Yeah.
I was looking forward to more Guardians of the Galaxy, except James Gunn sucks, so screw him, the director. Yeah, see, this is the problem, man. Why can't I just go see a damn movie and not have to worry about the politics of the damn director and producer?
There's so much agenda built into film today, and I've been seeing this, especially with Marvel, a migration between the moving away from the traditional male superhero into the more feminist roles, where you have the feminine superhero, and then you have. I
want the '80s back, man. I want bulging biceps and like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and man.
We watched Predator.
Did you?
Last night. Tara's like, I don't know, it's violent. I'm like, but there's no sex.
Oh,
but it's violent.
Who's the black dude? I love him in The Mandalorian. Carl Weathers.
Yes.
Carl Weathers. Yeah, he's huge, and he and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. I was like,
it gets a shot of Arnold's bicep, and Jonah's like, "That's my dad." I'm like,
"Yeah, pythons." Yeah. I remember that scene as a kid. Like, they're so big. Yeah, oh my goodness! Right? Remember, and they're shredded. Yeah. That's what an action hero from the '80s
so,
looked
like. Ferrigno, Louis Ferrigno, right?
Hulk,
yeah. And then Arnold were two of my favorite on-scene muscle men in the '80s that I grew up watching. Dude, I was like lifting bricks as a kid, like lifting heavy things just so I could, push-ups. And we had a playground. I'm doing like pull-ups and stuff.
Just so you get huge. Well, I mean, and that's that. I don't mind female action characters and female and heroines or heroes that are female, as long as they don't make me. Now, like for instance, when a superhero does something crazy and slams a guy with a punch through a door, I can suspend reality because they're a superhero, right? But when Gina Carano did it, it looked like that would actually be the result, because she knows how to punch and she uses her body and she's
for sure
powerful.
And again, I'm not against female. They call them heroines.
That's a drug.
Such a weird word, but what I don't promote is the emasculation of men.
Yeah.
In order to do.
Run, Hide, Fight had an outstanding female hero. She didn't fight people that were obviously much bigger than her, and she didn't do some karate and throw that shit doesn't work. That stuff doesn't work, man. And so she used the power that she had. Marksman. She did fight one of the females. Bad guys, persons, but that was it would have been lame to see the big dumb guy with the machine gun if we're going up and chopping him and having him just knock out and having that be that kind of thing didn't happen.
So what's the other side of it? They said that the left said that she was
Gina
phobic, like
transphobic,
I guess, and then she put beep bop boop on her
on
her profile. Like, I don't understand the reference.
Well, what that is, because these virtue signaling jerks on Twitter on their profile page, and they'll put their pronouns, and they're pressuring her, and so the NPC character that they make, like Roger, we will all put our pronouns, and they all put their pronouns. Yes, and they all. You ever seen those NPC memes?
No.
Oh, okay, well they're like computers, so they're just programmed.
Okay.
And so she did the beep bop boop to be like a computer beep bop
like
boop.
beep boop blop.
Yeah, because
Okay.
she's programmed in like all the other robots, all the other sheep. She could have been ba ba ba.
I love it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It's now on my Minds profile. Beep bop
I'm not
boop.
gonna lie. I'm officially a fan of Miss Gina.
Yeah, right. But I was a fan beforehand. All this conservative stuff is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, and it honestly, I mean,
It's a delicious
it would
cake.
be difficult to be a fan. Just like I no longer enjoy watching Johnny Depp or Jim Carrey or Robert De Niro for the same reason. The rhetoric, like, okay, when you call, when you're in a position of,
You stand, Gina.
huh?
You
Stay on
stand,
Gina, yeah,
yeah.
okay,
We're getting pretty long.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No,
it
no,
sucks.
no. I agree. But yeah, it's easier to like someone on the home team than someone on the away team.
No kidding, right? For sure. So, get the Daily Wire.
So I'm not a subscriber.
I know,
technically.
another subscriber.
I get the emails daily. I get the daily emails, so the talking points.
Well, I got news, brother. As soon as they put more content out, that subscription, and Ben Shapiro put out, they're trying to be not an alternative, but a real content provider, so that people like us don't get pooped on by these people that we're paying money to see. We're gonna go and they're gonna. It's not gonna, when we give money to the producers, it's not gonna go towards a BLM activism. It's gonna go towards things that we support, or just go in the pockets of the producers. Just buy yourself a Bentley or something. Just don't support things and be for causes that are gonna be bad for America.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, right. It's
I don't get
insane.
it at all.
So I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.